What up, YouTube? It's another episode of Blacked Out. Now featuring Zelda, Breath of the Wild, double HD. Just kidding. Yeah, there is emulator you can get for PC. And if you have the game, you can play it pretty easily. I was surprised. It just works surprisingly. Anyway, that's not what I'm here to talk about. It's been a while. I know. I'm trying to get better about this. I just got a when I just get a headset, but I've had a headset for a while. I was waiting to buy a microphone because I don't necessarily like doing videos in front of the camera. I just don't. It's not something I'm that comfortable with. I notice I get pretty nervous, and it's hard for me to get my point across sometimes, as well as try to be comedic about this. Um, but what I want to talk about today is this whole Seth Rich thing. And if you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, I'm not surprised that you don't. Um, the news, well, the mainstream media hasn't really been covering it. I thought they would be, but I'll start at the beginning. Um, you remember a while back, I recorded a video called Russia, 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 all about this whole Russiagate thing and what my thoughts were on it. And basically, I came to the conclusion that they want to really weaken Trump's power as president. So they keep on throwing out Russia this, Russia that. All allegations, no facts behind it. To this day, we're still waiting for facts. And keep in mind, this has been going on since the beginning of the actual general election when those Wikileaks DNC emails came out, which was toward the beginning of the general election. Not, at the end of the election. It came out at the beginning. Hillary Clinton was the first one to make an accusation that Russia had something to do with the leaks. So that's what I'm here to talk about. Um, what we found out is that Seth Rich, the he was he worked in the DNC. He was found dead with two bullets in the back of his head. Around the same time that the DNC WikiLeaks dropped. Now, some of you are like, "Oh, that's a conspiracy. It had nothing to do with DNC." What came out recently? The family, Seth Rich's family, hired a private PI to work the case, while at the same time the DNC worked the case, and they came to the conclusion that it looks like a cover-up. They were told by insiders that they've been told to kind of bury this thing entirely. Um, the They said it was a failed robbery. They didn't find anything stolen at all. But what they did find was two bullets in the back of his head. At the time, Julian Assange said something along the lines of, well, he put out a reward in connection with Seth Rich's killer. At the same time, around the time that Seth Rich died. So it implied to a lot of people out there, myself included, obviously, that maybe he was the source, maybe he was the leak. And if you look at what his background was and what he had access to, good chances are that he very well was. Well, we found out that there are insiders saying that they have his laptop and it has correspondence between him and Julian Assange. Or, not, I won't say Julian Assange, just a wrong thing to say, WikiLeaks proper. And it was something along the line of 40,000 emails of DNC emails that are, that either on his laptop and or sent to WikiLeaks. So implying that all these emails that came out that let Bernie Sanders supporters know that the election was stolen from Bernie, as well as other things like all the inside baseball, the media collusion, the all this weird stuff of just the inside baseball of the DNC in general. And keep in mind, the biggest thing about this whole story is they're using DNC being hacked as a reason that Russian hacked or meddled in our election. But if you look at the this new allegation, because at this point that's pretty much what it is. But if you have an insider, and they're claiming that there's evidence. The insider's a police officer. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's one thing if it's a political insider or whatever, business insider. Police, say what you will, somebody gets killed, for the most part, they want to solve the murder. They want to get to the nitty gritty. But it sounds like they're being pushed back by the DNC itself. So it goes to the whole point that, like I said in the last video, the Russia has nothing to do with it. And it's an insider. The insider was Seth Rich. Seth Rich had the connections, and he had the discuss of the DNC. And that's just, I guess that's one thing we'll find about too. It sounded like he was not at all satisfied with how they were running a process, and he would have been one of Hillary Clinton's staffers had he still been alive, obviously. So that's what I'm here to talk about. I feel strangely euphoric, not because of that guy's death. It's just because of the fact that, historically speaking, once things like this happen, we're not supposed to find out about it. Not the day of, not the week of, not the year of. Probably when we're 30, 40 years older and can kind of vaguely remember the incident. We found out within a year that the person that they're screaming about in all these Russian allegations is Seth Rich. And guess what? The media is not talking about it. I found a ton of articles this morning when I was at work, and they all related to Seth Rich. And then I go okay, let me see what CNN's saying about this. I knew they wouldn't cover it in the way they should be covering it, but at the same time, I thought they cover it and just spin it. They didn't even bother. They didn't even go close to it. They don't give it, it's like either they don't give a shit or they haven't figured out the way to properly spin it to make Trump look like a fucking clown. Because that's all they're interested in. Washington Post, they've been spinning that Trump leaked secrets to Russians. They're still doing it, and that's the thing I thought about. It's like, holy shit, they're not letting go of this Russian narrative. They're never letting go of it. Why would they? It doesn't matter what the fuck comes out. They're gonna stick to it, man. They're gonna double down, quadruple down. It's never gonna fucking stop. And part of me thinks it's like, oh man, they just look like assheads if they continue to do this. It's like, but they don't give a shit. Most of the and I think about it, most of the industry, especially mainstream, they're dying. So they depend literally upon clickbait. And them, reneging on this whole Russia narrative that they painted themselves in the corner with, they're never going to stop that. There's no reason to. So so in a sense, I'm happy. Well, how to explain this? I feel a lot better about what's happening, even if they continue with this Russia shit. Because at the very least, I know, and and we all collectively know that they're full of it, and that there's actual news happening, and they refuse to cover it. The very thing they've been hyping for the last year about Russia hacking into the DNC, Russia meddling in an election, their only connection to Russia meddling was the DNC getting quote unquote hacked, but it wasn't hacked. This guy Seth Rich, he had access to all these records, and he leaked them to WikiLeaks. Didn't hack it because he had access to it. He leaked it to WikiLeaks. Unless they're going to try to spin it now. The only thing I can think of, Seth was a Russian working with Trump. And it's so weird. It's like they say sometimes Trump's an idiot. Sometimes he's a genius because he managed to win the election by, making this massive deal with Trump and all, with Russia and all. It's like, holy shit, you get the truth staring you in the face, and you refuse to look at it. And people can see that, man. This is Terry Blackout. I'm going to try to do this multiple times a week, and you'll probably see video games and less video on screen of me. Let me know what you think. That's it.